Well, hey, what is going down, everybody? Welcome back to another brand new Am I Still on the Air? It's always great to be back on the air once again, especially when it's spoiler time. And tonight we are back to talk Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That's right. Dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. I am so excited to finally talk about this movie. This movie came out last Friday, and it is now Wednesday, May the 10th. And we've been waiting to talk about this one, trying to get the schedule together. And we are happy to go live on the YouTubes for those of you that are watching, and for those of you listening on audio later. Yes, this was live on YouTube, so you could pick which format you like to watch and sit back and enjoy whichever way. But I, of course, never come alone to an Am I Still on the Air, as I have my peeps with me. And so, yeah, guys, what is up? What is going down?
DX, thank you for having me. I am pretty excited not only to talk about this movie, but to hear about some of y'all opinions, because the way specifically one of you guys are talking, I'm a little bit worried.
I know, right? See. I'm wondering.
Well, I am ready to talk about it. I got my Star Lord shirt on. I'm a Star I'm a Star Lord, and I'm ready to rock and roll and break this puppy down. But maybe we need to crank up some sad music and get sad first. Should we be sad?
No.
Why? Okay, back up. We're back up. We're back up with the energy.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds like you're in a Guardians movie.
Yeah.
Or a Marvel movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Nothing sad. Nothing sad. This is all positive, baby. This is all positive.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget that, yes, this again is about the spoilers. So if you haven't seen Guardians Volume 3, come back after you have seen the movie, bookmark this, and save it for later. Unless you're crazy and you're just like, you know what? I haven't seen it yet, but I don't care about spoilers. I want to know what happens in this movie, and then I'll decide if I want to spend my money or not. So, hey, man, there's a lot of people out in this world, whatever floats your boat. But we have warned you for the last time. We're going to be breaking this movie down, everything we liked, we didn't like. We're going to have our updated big MCU countdown at the end of the show, like we always do. We're up to 32 films, ladies and gentlemen. So strap on in, as we got a lot to talk about here. Yeah, man, guys, it has been 6 years since Volume 2. 6 years. That is a big gap. 2017. 2017 was Guardians Volume 2. Oh, and that's a little cray-cray right there. You know, we were supposed to get this movie several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then James Gunn went and got himself fired, unfortunately. And there was a big hiccup there where some old-ass tweets came out. He said some things and people didn't like it. And Disney fired him. And then he went on to DC and he said, you know what? I'm going to do the Suicide Squad. And then right when he started to do that movie, Marvel said, we
just kidding.
No, we messed up. We messed up.
Yeah. They just wanted to have a quick break. And then they said, we messed up. We want you back, baby. And luckily, James Gunn had already wrote the script. He was already sitting on it. And he's like, you know what? I want to finish my trilogy. I want to wrap this thing up with my Guardians. I will come back and do it. But of course, he was making Suicide Squad, right? And then we had COVID and things just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. This movie was supposed to be in phase 4 and now it's in phase 5. And it's been a crazy ass ride, y'all. It's been a crazy ass ride. But as they say, it's one last ride for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So James Gunn coming back, wanting to make this movie, wanting to kind of go out on a high note and wrap up his trilogy. He said from the beginning, this is the end of my Guardians. This is the end of the road for my crew as we have it today. Not necessarily the end of Guardians of the Galaxy overall, but for this crew, this team that we've seen for 3 films, a holiday special, Infinity War, Endgame, some what ifs, like this is it. This is the end of it. And we'll see where the road takes us, right? So going into this movie, we had a lot of speculation, like who's gonna die, right? Drax is gonna die. Batista don't want to do this no more. He's gonna die.
Yep, Zoe's
Rocket's
all
gonna die, right? Yeah, Gamora's gonna die again. You know, like is Star-Lord gonna die? Who's gonna die? Maybe they all die. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
and then no one died. So congratulations for pulling it off without even killing nobody, but having us on our feet the entire time.
Oh
So
man, that trailer with them carrying Star-Lord's body, it's just like, oh, he's totally gonna die.
And then also in the
first 5
same
minutes of the
trailer,
film.
you have Star-Lord going like, over
Yeah,
someone's
exactly.
body. And it's like, Yep.
Everyone's dying.
Smart move, man, to have that scream in that trailer because I had everybody tripped out, guys.
I did.
Everybody. So yeah, man, dude, 30-second film. This is our second film of phase 5. Guardians. We all love the Guardians. I know, especially Frigginz. Like this
Oh
is,
yeah.
the first Guardians is the top of his list. So I'm super curious to hear his thoughts here as we get into this because as we always do, we try to not talk too much about it, even in our group chat or anything like that. We try to, we get a little piece here and there of like, oh, I enjoyed it, or maybe I had some gripes, but we don't really go into any details at all. So when we come here, we can have this like fresh discussion, and that's what's always really fun. So before we get started, once again, make sure you follow all the socials there at the bottom. Follow the show here at Am I on the Air? I am DX DONMEGA. You have Peeps over here, and then you have Frigginz over here, just so we can get that all situated. So as we always do, we like to do our overall thoughts first, going into the theater, opening night, checking it out, and then walking out. What did we think? What is our initial reaction coming out that theater? Where's our head at? Are we loving it? Are we hating it? Is it just kind of meh in the middle? Where are we at on our overall thoughts? So I'm going to start with Peeps. Actually, I know that Frigginz kind of saw it a couple days late. He was doing some work stuff. But when you got back, you got to see it in the big ol' IMAX. So I'm excited to hear his thoughts on that. So, but Peeps, man, where was your anticipation level? And then where was it at when you were walking out?
And dude, like in terms of anticipation level, like this movie was my number 2, like across the entire year. Super looking forward to this movie. And for many reasons, and I've said this 100,000 times, but I was at the San Diego Comic-Con when they released a trailer that nobody has seen yet. It's a public trailer, or it was like a private kind of thing. And that trailer hit me. And not just that, but seeing the cast out there and them talking to each other and them talking to the crowd, like they were just super emotional. And some other stuff happened there with the High Evolutionary. So I have been stoked for this movie for a minute. And then kind of like going in there. I have a friend that I generally go see movies with, and they didn't want to go see this movie with me this year for whatever reason. And so I ended up going with my kids. So taking them there. It was a great experience. First of all, the movie was great. I loved the movie. I had a blast with the movie, laughed, cried, the whole shebang. But for that to be the first Marvel movie that my kids are actually caught up on and they're watching it with me opening night, that just made it extra special for me. We're going to be obviously continuously doing this, but I have not taken them to see a Marvel movie opening night. And so that was really dope. I was feeling the movie. Most of them were feeling the movie. My cancer sensitive son, he was like, it was too sad that I don't like that movie, which I think is understandable. I don't think this movie is really meant for like kids. So, but man, just fantastic. Like to the very end, to the credits, and it's seen this movie twice, and we'll talk about that. But there's like a little marquee that pops up at the very end. And like each time people in the theater got so excited, even though it doesn't really mean anything, but everybody's just so excited. And I was the only one clapping at the end of the movie. Stupid, audience. Yeah, I didn't go at like an 8:00 showing, that's when everybody's real hype. So yeah. But anyways, man, like the energy was great. Gosh, man. I don't know how long this episode is going to be tonight, because I have a lot of things to say about this movie. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Let me go get my pillow.
Hey, but I want to I want to piggyback on that. So did you brought all the kids?
I brought all the kids except the youngest because she was grounded. So
Oh.
yeah, the 16-year-old, the 10-year-old, and yeah, they were that was our crew. Oh, and family
and then
friend he went too.
what was the kid perspectives again? So you're the oldest
The
liked
oldest
it.
loved it. She was right there with me. Like she loved it. I looked over at her a couple times,
Mhm.
and I'm like me, right back at her. And yeah, like that was dope. Like eh, that, and again, amazing moment for us because I took her to see that movie when she was, geez, like 8. And I'll never forget, like when Star-Lord was saved Gamora in the middle of space, she was bawling in that theater. And just I recently bought her a backpack. Like Guardians is just our thing, and just to have her there, for this movie, it was great. And my son, he's cracking up laughing the whole time, especially with the get in the fucking car. He likes bad words in movies, so yeah. But yeah, man, like they the energy for them and myself, and we're looking at each other, and yeah, it was great, man. It was a really good experience, I think.
You said your son thought it was sad.
He did.
He
He
walked out.
liked the movie, and he was laughing and
Yeah.
happy about the action scene at the end. He was into it, but he said, like, I was like, "How do you feel about it?" He's like, "I don't like it." And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "It was too sad." And I think, I think this is not really able, I don't think, to process everything. And just because it's sad doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But he just wants a happy ending, and want, even though it was, but he just wants the whole thing to be like a joyride. So I don't know. I think it was his first like exposure to something like this, so it's a good thing for him. It's good for him.
Well, it throws you off because of the tone of the first two movies, right? Like
For
the first two movies
sure.
are very fun, funny, fun, right? And then this one's
The
like,
second one kind of
and
ends
we're
on a bit
gonna
of a somber note, but yeah, the majority of it, yeah,
yes,
you're right. I
but
agree.
it's also
Even with
celebrated, right? Like with Yondu, it's
that's true.
celebrated, right? Like the
Yeah,
Ravagers forgive him, and it's the big firework display, and it's family coming together. It's a
yeah,
different kind of sad
true.
than this movie
I
sad.
agree with that.
And it's funny you say that because this is basically exactly what I went through with my daughter, because I
Oh,
took
and
my
the
daughter
animal
opening
stuff, I
night.
forgot about that. Like he did not
Yes.
like seeing that. Yeah.
Oh, that was
Nope.
rough. Yeah.
Yeah. So I took my daughter opening night, who loves the first two Guardians movies, obviously loves Marvel in general. And exactly at the end of the movie, he said the same thing to me. I liked it, but I don't want to ever watch this again. It was too sad.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? And because I want to go again, and my wife wants to go again, and we're trying to actually get her to agree, and she's like, nope, I don't want to go. I
I'm
don't
out.
want to see it again. She goes, it
Yeah.
was too sad. I don't want to relive it. Rocket's
Mhm.
story is too sad. I don't like what they did to the animals. And she was just like, nope, I don't want nothing to do with it. Like,
Yeah.
but same thing throughout the movie, she's laughing, she's having a good time. And then
Mhm.
at the end, like the things that happened in this movie, man, she was grabbing onto me, and she was kind of head in my arms, and just
Aw.
kind of like, why is this so sad? Like,
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
not
I
ready. She
know
was
it's a
not
little
ready.
different. So it's a little rough, man. It's a little rough from
Yeah.
them little ones. My daughter's 9, and she was like, but yeah, but I absolutely loved it. I mean, I went in with very high expectations just because we waited so damn long. Like I said, 6 years waiting for the sequel. And just not really knowing where they were going to go with it, right? Like we said, like
Mhm.
kind of going in wondering who's going to die, where's the story going to take us, how are they really going to wrap this story up,
Yeah.
like the way James Gunn said. Like, I'm like, without killing people off, like, how are they going to explain this is the end of this group, or
Yeah.
like, and so it was a lot of open-ended questions that I went in wondering how are they going to answer all of these. And when I walked out, I was thrilled. And it's a movie that has stuck with me since I saw it. Like, I
Same.
just keep thinking about it,
Same.
and I keep running things through my head, and
Same.
songs are running through my head, and scenes are running through my head, and I'm making different connections in my head. And like, 2 days later, like, oh, because of this happened. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that was smart, like, and I'm like connecting dots. And it's just interesting. Some movies kind of just stick with you in a weird way. And like I said, I'm just dying to see it a second time and kind of go through it again with a different set of eyes now that I've seen it one time, and see kind of what else I piece together, what else I see, or what did I miss the first time. But yeah, walked out super, super happy. Like I said, my daughter's sad. My wife, like, she said the same thing. She was like, I need to see that movie again because it was such a different tone than what she expected. Guardians are her favorite out of all Marvels. She loves Guardians 1 and 2. And she was like, this one was just super dark at times and deep at times. And she's like, I don't know how I feel. I need to kind of sit through it again to see if I truly, really liked it or not. She's like, it was a really good movie, but where does it, she's like easily like third place, out of the 3 movies. Because she loves those other 2 so much to where like I kind of had a different, experience with it. But yeah, man, absolutely loved it coming out of it. So Frigginz, man, finally, a couple days late to the game. I know it was hard for you. He went on a little social media blackout. He was like, yo, I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to see nothing. Don't show me nothing. Don't even say Guardians in the next 3 days. And then came back and went and saw it in IMAX. Tell us, dude, what did you think?
I had quite the journey with this movie. It was my number 1 on our most anticipated list. I was so excited. So when we were at San Diego Comic-Con and I dropped off Peeps at the line and he's like, I'm like, see you in a week whenever you get to Hall H. And he's out there camping in the grass and in the concrete. And I'm like, I don't ever want to do what you're doing right now. And then like he comes back and he's like telling us about Guardians. And I'm like, I am so jealous of you right now. And so that just really helped like build up that anticipation. So I was so stoked for this film. And then to come to find out that like I had this like mandatory work thing that I could not go. I was out of state across the country and I couldn't have that Thursday night with my crew, my movie crew that we usually do. And it was I think I was missing out on that experience big time for sure, because that was painful. Doing the blackout, I was like, I literally, like, we have a little group chat. I was avoiding them. I wouldn't even log into the group chat because, like, I was afraid someone was going to make a joke or something and I was going to get all, like, worked up. So it's like everything I could do to avoid it. One of my buddies, to get a little, like, in true Guardians Vol.3 tones, we're going to go up and down with, like, funny and then kind of sad or heartwarming and then funny. One of my buddies who I met when Guardians came out, he messaged me and was like, hey man, when we first became friends, like, this is the movie that came out. You told me to watch this movie. This changed my Marvel. He hadn't really seen a lot of Marvel stuff before that. And he like said he wanted us to see that movie together because of that like impact. And that's kind of like what started our friendship really. And that meant so much to me. I thought that was really, really cool. And with the timing with, he and I were both actually, out of state. And, so he goes, how about when we get back, you come up to Phoenix and we watched it on the huge IMAX screen, which I've never seen. So, I got to go in here, watch this movie on this gigantic monstrosity of a screen, which my floor was on the ground. This is amazing screen. Everyone should go to Phoenix and watch on like a true IMAX screen. It was really cool. So yeah, it was all about that experience. And one thing I will say is, regardless of how I felt about the film, I'll never forget the experience that led up to this film. So
I feel like he's stalling, Don.
Stalling a little bit.
I know. It's big stall. He's going all the way around.
All right, here we go. Overall general thoughts. Walk out of that theater on Sunday after seeing it, and my thoughts were, I have no idea how I feel about this movie. I cannot decide if I liked it or didn't really like it. I cannot separate or combine or know what to do with my subjective criticism and my objective criticism. It is really hard to differentiate between what I didn't like and what I did like, and how it worked and how it didn't work. And it's problematic for me because, like, usually, like, I walk out of a movie and be like, oh my God, that was so dope. Or like, it was all right. But like this one, I really am struggling. And something stood out to me, what you said right now, Don. You mentioned that all week you've been nonstop thinking about Peeps. You mentioned it too. Peeps, you saw it multiple times already, I think, right?
Twice.
And like, I walk out of that theater and I'm like, I don't know if I could watch that movie again. And to be honest with you guys, I haven't thought about it pretty much at all unless someone brought it up. And to the point where I couldn't even remember a lot of scenes. Someone was like I was quoting the first movie. I can't even think of a quote from this movie. Like I had such a strange
Open the
response.
fucking door.
I'm gonna get to that. We're gonna talk about the F-bomb.
Open the fucking door.
So, I really like it. I really didn't like it. I don't know what to think about it. And that's really where I'm at, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I think
so. I'm just as confused as when you started talking, Fred. So we'll get there then.
Here's the thing. I feel like I've really been looking forward to
like the movie started and then the movie ended.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess I fell asleep or something.
I was really looking forward to this conversation because, oftentimes, like, it's not till you really sit down and start working through things with people where you can kind of like, oh, I actually really like that aspect more. Or I really didn't like that aspect more. Yeah. So I've been really looking forward to this talk because I'm hoping that it'll help me kind of like land on something. And I definitely feel that although I don't want to watch it again, I think that should I watch it again, I might have different or change of perspective on how I feel about it.
Frigginz, lately on these Marvel movies, you know how like there's that moment in Hawkeye when there's that writing in the urinal that says like Thanos was right?
Yeah.
Like I think I'm gonna get a t-shirt that just says like Frigginz is wrong. Because every time, buddy, like you are wrong.
I think it should say Frigginz is right. I agree with that.
I'll get 2 shirts, okay? Depends on the movie.
Depends on the movie, yeah. Exactly. Someone's overthinking this shit.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm shocked. I'm honestly very shocked that was your walk away. Just with how big this franchise is to you. So the fact that's
I'll try to figure it out. So like this movie, it's unlike the first 2 movies. This movie is not a Peter Quill movie. And I think that's probably part of what Frigginz may not like about this movie. It, kind of started with things being his fault, and he kind of took the back seat for the majority of the movie, if not like all of it.
It's not even that. Like, you kind of talked about the tone of starting us off, right? And like Guardians 1, first opening sequence to get you pumping. Well, not the first. I mean, I know.
Yeah, when his mom died, that part.
Yeah, the major opening.
Did they get you real pumped?
That song, come.
Take my hand, Peter. Take my hand.
Like funny, hilarious, positive vibes. You go to volume 2.
No,
funny,
because
hilarious,
even before the
vibes.
he's like walking in this dark place.
Yeah.
And he's yelling, red eyes, like ka-dong, dong. Like,
it's the juxtaposition. It's like, oh, guess what? This is gonna be a fight scene or a cool break-in, like you've seen 1,000 times, and then it's like, guess what? We fooled you. It's actually fun and silly. And the same thing for volume 2, where there's this crazy creature coming and you're about to get this fight. You do get a fight, but it's fun, positive music, taking you for a different ride.
Who threw that at me?
And as much as I loved nice. As much as I loved Creep and how it played in the somber tone, it was just so different. And that's the thing about the film, is it's not what you expected, which can be a good thing and can be a bad thing at the same time.
It's a good thing.
You know what, Frigginz? You're a bad dog.
Oh, come on. Take it back.
No. Bad dog. All right. Well, as we always do, we like to start with the negative. Let's get it out the way so we can cleanse into the light. And I feel like I have to start almost with Frigginz because I'm like, dude, I need to know more. What is holding your overall thoughts back here?
Yeah.
Where's your head at? I need to know, man.
Me too.
I need more insight.
Is he talking?
You're yeah. We can't hear you anymore.
You must have muted me. I think that's what happened.
I think God muted you. They're like, no more of this nonsense.
All right,
the sovereign.
So I'm gonna put a little preface, a little warning. This is gonna be the most infuriating for YouTube. This is gonna be the most infuriating review that we've ever done, because I'm gonna literally say, oh, Peeps likes using the sandwich analogy, right? I'm gonna be like, I freaking hated this ham sandwich. And then 5 minutes later, I'm gonna be like, but I love ham sandwiches. So you guys are about to hear like I hated the same thing that I loved. So get ready.
Okay. All right.
The number
I appreciate you
one-
admitting that ahead of time, just so you
I'm
know.
just getting it out there. Yeah.
All
So
right.
now the number one, my
This
number
sucked,
one,
but I loved it.
yeah. my number one dislike of the whole film. Now, this is only a dislike. There's nothing good about it. It's 100% thing I hated the most about this movie. They did not give Star-Lord a freaking mask.
They talked about James Gunn talked about that.
I'm gonna have to go watch that because I'm ready to file some petitions. Like, they had the perfect opportunity using the costumes from the comics to use the same like updated cool new mask. It drives me nuts. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
His mask was in the drawer and nowhere, and they got attacked by Adam Warlock, and he had to get the fuck out of there real quick.
I know what you're saying, but hey, like my friend is dying. I need to leave and go help him. Like, this is the thing that I'm focused on. I know, yes, the fans and everybody.
Keep it in the ship. Like, I would leave it in the ship. Why are you leaving it in your lunchbox? Like, and he doesn't have
in his bedroom.
The
in his bedroom.
His rocket boots, which he was also missing in Volume 2. If he has them in Volume 2 and he has them in this movie, they're a totally different situation. But by the end, he broke his mask. He broke his mask in Volume 2, but shows up in Infinity War with the mask. So he could have got new ones.
James Gunn didn't like that either.
Anyway, that really drove me nuts. Honestly, I'm all about costumes. I know people that know me know about costumes.
Same.
And missing that mask.
I'll say it was one of the first things I noticed as well too coming out. I said to my wife, I said, I don't think he ever put the helmet on that entire film. I didn't really think why. I was just kind of like, that's weird, you know, especially I think it dawned on me when he was dying in space at the end. And I was like, hey, where's the damn helmet at? Like, that would have taken care of this situation.
It dawned on me
would have been kind of flushing out of it.
It dawned on me in the trailer because I was like, I don't think they're gonna give him the damn mask. Like, I immediately caught on that, and so I was already pissed off going in.
I was thinking it would be neat to have a different mask because he had that Thanos imperative kind of Guardians of the Galaxy colored suit on. So like, what if he had like it's more of like a helmet, right? That he has on. It still has the eyes and everything, but it's like
has like a top and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go is where I'm going to start breaking. One thing I want to really point out, and this is 100% a Fred thing. So I'm sure it doesn't bother you guys as much. I'm sure Peeps knows what's coming. I almost feel like I have to apologize to any listeners that might be into the furry game. This is a completely subjective frustration that I have. And that is, I have a really hard time with anthropomorphic things. I have some people are afraid of clowns. Some people are afraid of, I don't know, jackets. I don't know. Stupid. But like,
all dumb. They all belong on Maury Povitz and everyone's gonna laugh. Oh, Peach.
Maury signed me up because I have a fear of furries. It kind of creeps me out. I can't explain it. I'm sorry if you like doing that stuff.
Fucking fear.
But it just creeps me out. So when I come into this movie and like half the movie is doing with anthropomorphic furry looking race or whatever, like it's just I had a hard time getting past that. Again, it's just if you're afraid of clowns, you're not gonna watch Attack of the Killer Clowns or whatever the hell that movie was called. So yeah, that was the biggest thing, and I feel like this focus on not only this planet with these like anthropomorphic people, but also the rando bad guys that are like half robot, half animal. They look like Toy Story Sid villains. I hated them. I'm like, God, why can't they? I just want like a general alien thing, which leads me into another one of my main complaints is James Gunn's weirdness. So I love James Gunn. I love like his writing ability and what he does.
Statement.
Exactly. But he's freaking weird. And he like Guardians 1 and 2 was on that border of like, this is cool, weird. But this broke into like Slither weird. And
a great movie.
I couldn't stand that space station living building or whatever the hell that was that grossed me the hell
Pubic
out.
hairs all over it and all
Yeah,
that.
oh, so gross. The dumb costumes that they wore with those like
So
what are they? The Michelin
so
Man
wrong.
stupid things. Like,
So
come
wrong.
on.
Those are
It
great.
was terrible. But here comes contradiction. It's 100% comic. Like, I'm not saying that was in the comic, but it feels like a comic. Like, that's something that would be in a comic. So I give him props for that. I just
like this guy
personally
is
don't
talking
like
about how the heist scene was like one of his least favorite scenes. Like he's the heist guy.
But it was creepy and gross, and I was just like, get away. Totally weirded me out. I thought the main bad guy, the High Evolutionary, was a little meh for me. Amazing actor.
God.
He did a great job.
Dude.
He did a great job. This is not a complaint on him. I just thought the bad guy was lame. I will I will say that I love that they made him just bad. I don't need every bad guy to have like a relatable sensibility, but I just thought he was boring and meh. I think I had a hard time with the animal torture. Wasn't expecting that. And the overall kind of depressive vibe for it. Normally I like a sad movie like Logan, one of my favorite movies, very depressing, but it balances out with really cool violence and stuff like that. And so not having as much action made it hard for me to get into the film as a whole. I won't take up all the time throwing out all my hate here. Some of the character things that I don't like, I'll talk about when we start talking about some characters, but that was kind of like some overall thoughts and my main points of some of the things that I did not like.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody say bye to Frigginz. Let him know. Thanks for coming. We appreciate him, but this is the last time he will be on Am I Still in the Air? So just want to let everybody know.
I just want to point out my boy Alex in the chats up here. He's got my back. He's right there with me.
Oh man.
Oh Lord.
No.
All right. Peeps, I know you'll have a better list. Go ahead and I'll take that away.
And I'm that guy, I'm that guy that's like when that turtle went up on the screen and his arm cracked and then he got lit on fire. Like I'm that guy. Like who are you, Frigginz? That's what I want to know.
I know.
Somebody once told me,
if you just go into the movie, just shut your brain off and you enjoy what they give you on the screen, it's actually quite enjoyable.
Until you put anthropomorphic stuff in there, then I'm just kind of like, the whole time.
That was barely anthropomorphic animals. All right. Okay. So my nitpicks. I was going to say the helmet thing, but James Gunn specifically mentioned on the Twitters, he did like a, I'm going to be answering yes/no questions for the next hour.
Yeah.
And that was the question he answered. Like, he was on the run, or not on the run. He had to, get up and go. It was in the, in his little shop,
in his drawer.
Yeah,
it was in his
dresser
drawer.
So
stupid. I'd have one in the sock drawer and I'd have one in the spaceship.
Also,
the spaceship
you should have one in the spaceship. I'll give you that.
Spaceship sucks.
Yeah. In the world of like, a comic book character looking the part, like everybody else is just them. Star-Lord is like the helmet, but at the same time, like Thor doesn't wear the helmet anymore. Like how many movies has Thor been in and how many times has he worn a helmet, So
he's also a god. Star-Lord's just a puny human.
He was a god. Anyway.
He's a lord.
Let me see. So I guess two other nitpicks, but one of them doesn't really count. The only other like nitpick that I have is I feel like this is kind of a missed opportunity to give us some like maybe some background on some characters. And I'm sure the reason why they didn't do what I'm about to say is because these characters are established Marvel characters and they have their own histories and storylines that maybe they'll get into one day or not. But I think that with them creating an animal land and we have a fucking talking duck that we've seen every movie, it would have been a neat little way to throw that back in there to be like, oh, After Earth, that place sucks. I left there like years ago. Something like that. I think
that would have been awesome.
Maybe explaining like that's kind of where Howard came from, or Howard like fucked off of that place. He used to be, I think he's a detective, and he's like, yeah, no, that place they didn't have any good jobs, so I left. I don't know, something like that. I think that would have been
cool. Yeah.
On top of that, I was thinking, okay, Animal World, and they're just their heads are like animal. I'm like horse head. Beta Ray Bill, like the whole planet is exploding, and then like he gets burned in the face. Beta Ray Bill has like a horse head, but like no lips, so maybe his like front of his face gets like burnt and mauled, and then he's got like this look, and then that's just it. Maybe he's just floating around in space. He's like the only, and that's another thing with Beta Ray Bill. He is the only one left of his race or whatever. So whatever, it doesn't have to be, but I think that could have been a fucking thing that they threw in there. But all right, fine, we didn't do it. It's okay. Missed opportunities that weren't even part of the storyline that I'm bickering about. And even I was thinking that how funny would it have been to have like a half girl that is also a half squirrel in there to kind of throw that in there. I think Frigginz would have liked that too.
You had to add the squirrel.
I did. That was for
another
you,
thing I absolutely hate.
that was for you. So that's really it. My only other thing, and this is something we'll probably talk about a little bit more. I have a fear that this is going to be the final Marvel movie that I am actually going to enjoy on this level for a long time. There's nothing on the books except for Deadpool that has me excited. And I don't know, like, I don't think a Fantastic Four movie can give me this level of excitement, or even the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Outside of the next X-Men movie, which we don't even know when that's going to be a thing, there's really nothing else that I'm really excited for and looking forward to. And that kind of sucks, because I feel like maybe that is that burnout that's finally starting to hit me. I don't really like, I'm still excited for all the other movies, but man, this movie just like set the bar for like everything obviously there's to come. And just like the first Guardians movie kind of created that same dynamic that Marvel copied afterwards, of like, let's have a sad moment, and let's like do a joke, and then like sad moment, and that little flip-floppiness that So I don't know, man. Like, and then now with James Gunn being over in DC, like, what does that mean? I don't know, man. It's just like what's to come, I guess. And it really makes me think about the future of Marvel. And I hope they stop overworking their animators. I mean, I think the animation in this movie was top notch. They must have like taken all of the animators that they've been working so hard and threw them all in this movie, and then like had all the leftovers be in every other movie.
Probably.
I don't know, man, but like it just makes me a little bit worried about the future of Marvel. But I think that's also a good thing, because we're talking about like negatives, but that means I love this movie so much that I'm like worried about the future of Marvel. So I don't know. But yeah, I can think of anything else, I'll let you know. I mean, I in terms of like,
because what you did wasn't really negatives. It was just kind of thoughts.
nitpicky. Yeah.
General.
It's
overall
really
thought.
There's nothing.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I could add more. I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
I can talk about all of Frigginz. There wasn't much action. What movie were you in? What did you? Oh, he must have seen John Wick recently and was like, this one was a lot of action compared to what I'm used to. It's no Sisu.
It's no Sisu. Oh Lord.
No, but yeah, if I can come up with anything, I'll let you guys. I guess I'm upset that I can't figure out who Pete Davidson was in this movie. I don't know.
I know. Marco.
Oh, I was going to send the picture earlier.
Yeah, I was confused.
He was in a random alien.
But, yeah, I'll share the picture in the chat. I had it earlier, and then I was like, oh, I'm sure he knows who he was at this point, so I didn't post it.
How about you, John? Yeah, I mean, with how much you were talking about the excitement coming out, I'm curious to see if there even was anything you didn't like.
There's nothing. I don't have a fucking thing on my list.
Dang.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Except for Creed.
I tried. Yeah, if you want me to nitpick, shitty opening song. So did not appreciate that. I wish they could have picked any other song to open this movie with. But yeah, I mean, but I get it. I can even bypass that just due to the way they wanted to start this movie, right? It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like everything hit for me, man. Like, yeah, like would I have liked it to be a little bit lighter? Would I have liked it to just be a big laugh fest and walk out with my daughter being like, that was the best thing Sure, but I wouldn't change anything. I mean, like,
Nothing.
the story that was told is important. Like, I loved getting that backstory on Rocket and like where his name comes from and him finally figuring out he's a damn raccoon. Like, just different things like that that we finally got, right? Like,
Such a
I mean, for 2 movies, and like even there's that part in the Christmas special where Kevin Bacon's like, "Is that a raccoon?" And he's like, "I'll kill you." He gets like so mad and like goes
yeah,
to attack Kevin Bacon. Like, he hated being called a raccoon, and then for him to
yeah,
be like, "I'm Rocket Raccoon," like, like
Yeah, that's
with his
dope.
gun, I was like, "Yeah."
yeah.
Just seeing that all unfold, man. Lila and Teefs and Floor, like all that stuff, dude. It was great, man. Like him, it's good to have friends. Um, I love the backstory. Yeah, it sucks. I'm a big animal lover. I hate fucking animal cruelty. Like, that shit was hard to watch, right? When Lila got
Yeah.
shot, I was like, oh
Oh,
fuck,
that was
and that was
rough.
exactly when I looked at my daughter, like, oh shit, she's gonna lose it. Like, because I just, like, seeing that you weren't ready for that, and all of a sudden the gunshot goes off, and you see the little hole in her chest, and you're thinking they're getting ready to escape, and you're like, yeah, I guess it makes sense, right? Like, where would she have been all these movies if she was still around, right? Like, so, but when I really sit and I think about nitpicking, or I think about, like, what would I change? What didn't I like? I didn't walk out thinking like I didn't like anything. Like, there wasn't anything that I was like, they should have done this instead. Like, I appreciated the story that was told. I thought everybody played their role very well. I loved the villain. I love the story that was told. And so, yeah, so super positive for me. I don't have anything to nitpick on this one here other than not doing Creep as the opening song.
Yeah.
um so let's switch gears. Let's get into the things we really loved, right? The things that maybe stuck with us, the things that we really had fun with, the scenes that stick out in our minds, things we really, really liked. Going back in order, man, I'm gonna go back to you, Frigginz. I need some positivity out of you. What stuck with you? What did you really be like, fuck yeah, that scene was awesome? Like, things that you really did dig coming out of this.
Well, I'm gonna transition from that negative of like the music, right? Like, none of the music really stuck with me. I couldn't even remember what songs were in there. But the positive was although it was different from the last two, and although it was interesting or weird to have a somber opening, I loved the creep song. So I'm completely opposite of Don on this one. I really loved seeing Rocket singing the lyrics as he's going through,
Yeah.
seeing the people in the background, like kind of like in it. I was like, are they pumping the music into like everyone's hearing this? And that's what was going
Yeah.
on. Like, I
Yeah.
thought that was a really cool addition to it. So
Yeah.
I felt that opening scene, while it wasn't what I was wanting, it was very different. I really liked it. So I wanted to start with that just to contradict you, Don. And then, although I hated the fact that there was no mask, I loved the suits. Like, I was so excited to see those blue suits back from the old school comic series, where that was just chef's kiss. I Obviously, the action at the end, the hallway fight. I'll let you guys kind of bring that up more, and we'll break that down a little bit later, because I feel like that's going to be a big thing. But
Yeah.
that was great. Objectively, I think you cannot watch this movie and not acknowledge that the writing was top notch. The cinematography was top notch. That hallway scene alone explains that. That goes in the fight choreography. The score, while I mentioned that the songs didn't stick with me, it still gave you a vibe as I was watching. I remember like feeling like I felt like I was watching a Guardians movie. Peeps, you mentioned the CGI. So these are all like objective things that you cannot overlook. Like, you have to give them credit, whether you like the movie or not, for these things that they accomplished on they're a professional level is what I want to say. Obviously, they're a professional company, but like, taking it to the next level. So I really appreciated all of those aspects. I thought the acting to include in that too. I think the thing that I liked the most was specifically Rocket's background story. It was really interesting to dive into, where he came from and finding his development. We've had these hints of him being this kind of asshole the whole time and trying to push people away, and to figure out like why that occurred and to experience it emotionally was absolutely amazing. So, you know, that's probably one of the main things that stood out to me, along with just the general character development that occurred throughout. You know, it's kind of like this is the third movie. We feel like we know these characters, but in each character, we kind of saw something we never saw before. We saw Rocket, you know, be vulnerable. We saw where his pain came from. We saw him develop and move forward now, becoming that leader by the end. You know, when it comes to Gamora, we saw her like realizing that, you know, these people had an experience with another version of her, that this is a life she maybe could have had if her choices were different, and trying to having to develop like, you know, this realization of there can be people out there that treat you like family, and they're not necessarily family. The biggest shock for me was Nebula. Like, she seemed like she was the only one that had her shit together. And as soon as I had that thought, someone in the movie like said that. And even Star-Lord, like, you know, I hated that he was just like drunk on the table and everything in the beginning. It's like, oh, come on, don't go that route. But I loved that the second his friend was in danger, he went into fight mode. And he was like, we're doing this. Let's get the band together. We're going. I got to save him. And like, I love that, like seeing that aspect, but then also seeing his development of him coping with the loss of Gamora, realizing that this Gamora is not the same. This is, and eventually getting to that understanding of like, I got to go deal with me for a little while. I really appreciated the subcontext that all of those things like provide. I feel like we as viewers can really relate to a lot of that, like through experiences we may have had on our own. So those are the things that like really stuck out to me with this film.
So comment on what you said about Star-Lord real quick. And I know this is something you probably see as well, but like I recently watched the other three. And in the first movie, Star-Lord says, we're all losers.
Mm-hmm.
And they all look at him like, fuck. And he's like we all lost things, like bad. And if you think about specifically Peter, think out of everyone, like he's lost a lot and recently. And to lose his mom, to lose, you know, to get his dad and then lose him, and then Yondu, and then Gamora, and then for everyone to disappear, including himself, but she's the only one that doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Everyone comes back in the universe except for her. She just stays gone. Like that just has to be hard, you know? And it's like, why always me? Why am I the one that, you know, I don't know. It made sense to me why he took it so hard too. So
I get it. It's just, you know, I was hoping
you don't want to see
I didn't want to see it forever, you know. But so it was nice that, you know, they at least moved past it. Like he kicked into gear and was like, what's more important is me helping my friend. And
he felt bad, because he said if I wasn't like that, I could have actually probably prevented this. Yeah.
That was really cool. Although I didn't necessarily love the portrayal of Warlock, I did like how what's his name? William, right?
Will Poulter.
Will, yeah. I did like how Will portrayed him. I thought he did a really good job. I mean, like, you know, he got built, got muscular, like looked the part, but like his attitude and like how it was funny, it was a little unexpected. I don't care about the Adam Warlock character personally, so I didn't have any preconceived notions that I was going to be mad about.
What did you say? Give him something to think about or something?
Oh yeah, that was so funny. I just thought it was fun, so that was a cool little addition. The Cosmo was great. Kraglin had a cool little moment as well. You know, I like that James Gunn decided we're going out on a big note. We're going to give every single person a time to shine. You know, and he didn't do the thing that we all thought he was going to do. Kill everybody, right? Like instead he's like, you love these characters, let me show you what they can do. And that really was cool to see too.
Yeah.
All right, peeps. What stood out to you? I know it's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
Nutshell it, but what you got?
It was so much that when I went to record my spoiler review, that I do both a spoiler and non-spoiler, I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be able to do both of these in one episode." There's just so much that I like, and I know even tonight I'm not going to say some things that I wanted to say, but to go off of what Frigginz was saying, everything he said, special effects, like the way the movie was put together, like really good. Everything I could ask for in a comic book film. Giving us returning characters we were expecting, and even characters we weren't expecting for me to like actually grow attached to. The fact that I am on screen upset and emotional for a fucking CGI raccoon
Right.
and a limp walrus with a spider rabbit. You know what I mean? Like there are these, and there's it took me out of the movie for a minute. Like I am so upset at these what's going on right now, and I don't care. And then I dove right back into it. Like it was incredible. I think how they just not even just those characters, but like even when you're seeing an entire planet being destroyed and they're not showing you what's happening, but you're like, this is an entire civilization that's just being genocided right now, and it's horrible. And that goes into my next thing, like the villain. I disagree, Frigginz. I think this
100%.
high evolutionary was incredible. Like you said, I thought it was refreshing that we don't have a villain that is out to destroy the world. It just sucks that this villain wants
to make the world better.
Exactly. I'm improving it, and I love that God complex that he has. Like if you have the ability to create life to the scale that he does, creating the Sovereign and the other alien races I've never heard about, he thinks, and what he has a line, I can't remember it, but it's like, there is no God, that's why I stepped in and took over for him. That was so good.
I like how when his people turned against him, like you never see that. Like everyone just goes along the ride, and they're like, "No, we're gonna stop you," and he's just like, "No, you're not." That was cool.
That was a great scene. And then even the little, we always talks about setups and payoffs. Rocket and his anti-gravity boots, dealing with the guy that
was coming back,
gravity to his will. Like, so cool. Movie. It's such a movie moment that it's gonna come through again later on, and great payoff, I think. So yeah, all of that. I don't know if you guys noticed I don't know who painted it. I think Michelangelo or something. I don't know, but that creation of Adam painting, where the
where he touches them in space. Yeah,
did you notice that? Yeah,
I did.
Oh yeah, of course. It was perfect, right?
His shirt was even ripped up, like in the thing. Yeah,
exactly.
It was totally
so like painting, that. Them just throwing that little moment in there. That was like, wow, neat. The passive aggressive elevator scene. So I feel like that scene was a shot. James Gunn, like at the maybe the Russo brothers, maybe it was Disney, I don't know, but him explaining everything that had happened between Guardians 2 and then this movie, he's just like, and then my girlfriend fell off a magical cliff, and then and then I lost my temper for some reason and punched him and jeopardized the whole universe. And I don't know, that whole bit was, and then Nebula, that's pretty much everything that happened. Just I love that.
You're leaving some parts out, but that's overall the gist of it.
That's just of it. The moments where you think someone's going to die, like he knows that we're coming into this movie expecting that, and Drax getting shot in the chest and in the back, like, no, and then Rocket freaking walking to the light, and she's like, but not yet. And I got so happy. I got so happy when she's like, but not yet. I was like, yes.
When they were trying to do the code and the code didn't work and they thought they lost Rocket, and I was like, oh shit, all of that, and they still killed him off. It was crazy, dude. I was like, no.
Man, and then Star-Lord at the end, dude. Like, I thought that was it. I was like, that's a and it
Yeah,
was like, man, and
when
they're
his face
doing it.
puffed out, I was like, we're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, and I'm like, and they're going to do it in the most dirty way possible that they can't bring him back, is what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, he's going to shatter in 1,000 pieces, and then an alien's going to come eat it, and it's going to explode or something. But like, I just thought, again, kind of like kicking the nuts. I think James Gunn was going to do towards, the character, not really Chris Pratt, but yeah, man, just all of it was so great, and this movie overall, like things I like. It just fits. It's a great trilogy. I think if you watch all three movies, it feels like it. What did I say? I quoted Scream in one of my episodes, and Randy from Scream 3 says, we're in a trilogy. True trilogies are going back to the beginning and discovering something that wasn't true from the get-go. I don't know, whatever. Maybe that happened, maybe it didn't, but like you said, DX, them talking about Rocket's or Fred said it, but them talking about like Rocket's history, and even in the last movie in part 2, when Rocket and Yondu are going back and forth, and Yondu's like you're me, and you've had a rough life, but you've taken all of those heartaches, and you've turned them into who you are today. And I don't know, and then to see what Rocket's been through, and him being able to do things that the high evolutionary can't do, and the high evolutionary just can't get over it. He's like, how is it that I am so perfect? I create life, and you are able to, you're basically smarter than I am. And it just bothers him to his core. And yeah, man, just so many things. And we'll talk about the last, that fight scene at the end, and then Groot's little "I love you guys" to like that last scene where everyone's dancing together, and like no one's dead. This is a legitimately happy scene, and I'm like fucking emotional right now about seeing these people just having a good time dancing. Drax dancing, and you know how he feels about dancing, but fucking seeing Drax dancing, I'm excited about this shit. What the fuck is happening here? Gosh, like I can go on and on, but yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, man. I don't think like we could sit here for another 2 hours going over like everything, right? That really touched upon
so much.
I agree with everything you just said. There were so many key moments in this thing. I love the opening, right? Like, I mean, we start off a little somber, right? We talked about the song, we talked about, Peter's drunk, and okay, we get him to his room, we drop him off. And then Warlock shows up, right? And he just fucking wrecks shop. And I love movies that just go right at the beginning. And like that opening scene, dude, is fantastic.
Love it.
I
Like
mean,
the beams coming out of his hands when Drax is holding him.
That was cool.
Dude, and yeah, how the music changes, right?
You see him flying down, they're like, what the hell? And then like Nebula's got her little jetpack, and like just all the little enhancements that they did, and just everybody gets a moment in that fight, right? And he breaks Groot, and Groot's a little head spider walking around, and like just all, like he literally had to grow his body back again. It was crazy.
When he ripped Groot's head off, I was like, did he die again? Like
dude. Nuts. And then we joked earlier about it, but yeah, when then Kraglin tries to do the arrow, and it just who threw that at me?
Nebula.
So funny.
Oh,
dude.
You're talking about when
Nebula,
he hits Nebula.
stabs her. I'm talking about when he hits Warlock with it, and he's just kind of like, who the hell threw that at me?
Babies
threw that at me. Just the way he said it was just so funny. I liked Warlock, man. I had no idea they were going to play it comedic. Like I thought it was going to be super, super serious, and I like that they explained that he came out the cocoon too early, right? So he was kind of childish, and he wasn't fully grown, and so like he didn't know, right? He's that fish out of water kind of thing. Like he said, like they're like, show him what's up, and he's just like, psh, and like the guy's like bone, and they're like, not like that. Well, you said show him what's up,
you said,
right? And then I love that whatever that little creature was, that he took that thing under his wing, like that was
why is it looking at me like that? I don't like the way this makes me feel.
Exactly, dude. High evolutionary, fantastic, man. I love that dude. He's so good on Peacemaker, and it was cool to see him here. I love just the reveal of just the story of where he was and what he was doing with the animals, and he's trying to do a good thing, right? And I'm creating these creatures, but they're all super violent. Why are they so violent? And then Rocket figures it out. And I love that he was so pissed at Rocket because he's like, I'm the smart dude, and then you went and figured it out, and I don't like that shit, right? Because like, what the hell, man? You're my creation. How are you gonna tell me like what I did wrong? And I love that dynamic between them. To where Rocket's like, okay, I'm like, he puts those little pieces together and figures out how to open the cage, and he's like, let's get out of here. And when they shoot Lila and he kills the other ones too, heartbreaking. But then that scene, dude, when he jumps on the High Evolutionary and he's just slash, just fucking him up, dude. And you're like,
have
wow.
to come back later on,
Yes, and then you see that it's a mask and he's like Skeletor underneath, and it was crazy creepy, dude, man. Some Red Skull shit right there. I was like, I looked right at my daughter again, like, oh shit, you gonna be able to handle that?
You good? You good?
Oh, that
over
shit
there?
is creepy. Yeah, you good? You good?
Yeah.
But even like that scene, dude, I know we're jumping around, but like when they peel off his thing, or right before they peel it off, actually, when he goes to fight Rocket, and Rocket's like, I'm Rocket Raccoon, and they start to fight, and then all the Guardians show up, and it was like, it felt to me as a big wrestling fan like it was like old school WWE, where it was
so
like
good.
you got the one bad guy and everybody starts doing their finishing moves to the bad guy, because like everyone came in, like Groot's like goosh with his arm, and then Star-Lord's blasting, and then Gamora does her thing, and then Drax does his thing, and Nebula shoots him with her thing, and like it was like everybody took turns just fucking him up, dude, and then they pull off the thing, and he chooses to not even kill him, which is crazy, right? Like, you know, they're like, after everything he did, kill him, you know, and he's like, nah, you know, he's like, he's gonna live with this shit, you know, and go down with the ship. But just crazy creepy, dude. Like, I wasn't expecting that. Like, I knew he had obviously mauled his face, and I knew because you could see how the back of his head almost looked electronic, you know, kind of going forward. And
you thought he
like,
just had it repaired or
like,
something.
I thought he had it repaired, and he was kind of android in the back, you know, not really thinking that it was a stretched skin, just kind of.
Me neither.
I love that he called him RoboCop looking face.
That was cool.
Yes, RoboCop looking.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Another thing I loved, not going the easy route with Star-Lord and Gamora. Right? Like, how easy would it have been? And in typical 9 times out of 10 movie fashion, they would have fell in love again by the end of the movie.
Mantis would have touched them both at the same time, and brought back.
You love her, she loves you. Let's go. No, it didn't. Like, they tried. She's like, I'm not that person. And give it up to Zoe Saldana, who played Gamora in such a different way in this movie that it came off as a totally different character, right? She wasn't that same Gamora. Even though she's Gamora, she's a different Gamora. She had elements, but like, she didn't just all of a sudden, like, you're right, I should be a part of this crew. And I love you, Peter. But I like that she did come around a little bit enough to have that line of like, I bet we were fun. I bet we were fun. Oh, dude, I was like, oh, you know, he's like, we were.
And like even the small details with her, like her hair like used to be kind of like flowy and bouncy, and now it's like greasy and like kind of all like matted together.
That was cool.
Yeah, she was a Ravager. It made sense, right?
Yeah,
it was cool the way she was introduced in, but I love that they didn't go that traditional route. I love that it was like, hey, like he came to terms by the end. That's not my girl. I'm gonna have to live with that.
Shows growth for him as a character.
For all of them.
And the growth for her too, that she understood Groot by the end of the movie. Right in the beginning, she's like, "What the fuck's this thing saying?" And then by the end, she like kind of had that moment where she's like, it was fun serving with you too." Like, she like understood him.
So just to clarify, do you interpret that scene as she's okay?
Yes.
So we, the audience, know that she understands. Okay, it's not that he was speaking common language. Okay,
correct. Yeah,
got it. I
just
it's
just that if you're around him long enough.
Oh, go ahead, Don.
I was just saying, when you're around him long enough, it's like that's why all the Guardians understand him, right? I don't think Star-Lord ever took a class or read a book on how to understand Groot. I just think like they've been around each other long enough that everybody knows what he's saying at all times. And then when Gamora joined them up, since she wasn't the Gamora that grew up with them, that she didn't know what he was saying for the whole movie. And then at the end, when he showed up, she was kind of like, yeah, it was a pleasure serving with you too. And she just had that look on her face like, oh wow, I actually knew what you were saying right there.
It was
Like,
great when
and she
she's
got
like,
it.
"You guys are just making up that shit, right?" Like, because I've thought that before too. Like,
and that even makes you think a little bit about Groot. Like, does that mean like until you actually have like some kind of emotional bond with him, you're not going to understand him? But once you have that connection, you're able to connect with that. Yeah, I don't know.
I like
Which
it.
is awesome because you do have, so Peeps, you alluded to it earlier, that moment with Groot at the end, right? He goes, "I love you guys," and when it happened in the movie, we all kind of looked at each other like, "Come on, like that's a fucking stretch, right?" All of a sudden, he can say these random ass words,
But he did
right?
it.
Like I'll take the we or Groot, but like, I love you guys. I'm like, we just trying to give Vin Diesel another line to say what's going on over here.
Right.
And then walking out the theater, and as we started to talk about the movie, we were like, you know what? I think they, like, us as an audience, understood who he was. And I was like, man, I hope we get confirmation on that. And then by the weekend, James Gunn, they were like, please tell me that he did confirm it. They like somebody tweeted him and said, tell me that this interpretation is what really happened in the movie. And he's like, yep, that's exactly what we were doing. So that was awesome to get that validation, because it did seem so off. But then when you think about it that way, like how Gamora all of a sudden understood him, we understood him by the end of the movie, right? We've been with him now for multiple movies, and we've seen him grow up from the little thing, in the planter, all the way up to adult Groot, right? So then it makes you realize and kind of appreciate that moment even more, which is awesome. We took the hallway scene, guys. Come on, they're like everything in Marvel. You got a hallway scene, dude. No sleep till Brooklyn. They're getting ready to leave the ship, and that's when Rocket's like, "Yo, I'm tired of running. Let's go fuck this shit up." And then they go down, and the door opens,
slow
and
motion.
whoo, baby, what a shot! The way it was done. It was clear. You could see what everybody was doing. It flowed through from one character doing something into another character doing something to, Star-Lord sliding down and shooting things, and then Groot shooting out his arms,
the little
Rocket jumping up in the air. Dude, I mean, everything, man. Like, I was just like, what? Like, and that was my daughter's scene too. When we got out, she goes, I love that hallway scene. That was so much fun.
Drax
like,
sticking that dude to the wall with the knife.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That was sweet.
Dude, everybody got moments, and it was so good. And what a song to do it to. I'll never think of that song the same again. Like, it's such a badass scene, man. Usually when you have scenes like that, it's very choppy camera, or it's really quick, or it's shaky, right? Like, this was
in the dark.
so clean and crisp, and you could just clearly see what everyone was doing. And I love that it ebb and flowed from character to character of what was going on.
Air, and you could it just goes 360 around him. And
I wonder,
and he lands on Groot.
It felt like an homage to like the original Avengers, when they kind of like were switching between the others as well. I love that like connectivity of the group, and it just works so well here.
Yeah,
I love it. Nebula gets all knocked like in half, and then she's like,
yeah,
dude, she was all jacked up, and she just kind of came back.
Click.
I love when she snaps herself back together, man. Just hell of a scene.
And real quick, Don, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm gonna interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
But that's moment when Nebula says what the High Evolutionary is doing to Rocket is so much worse than what Thanos has done to her. Like, that really says something, because that's all she talks about. Like, my father ripped my eyes out and replaced them. But like, for her to say that, it's like
they were a nice pair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the eyes.
You never noticed how black they were.
Yeah. Well, he picked a good pair. I love that scene, dude. It sounds like you're talking about her.
Stop it.
Yeah, and he's just like, maybe. So yes, great stuff. I thought this was the best everybody was out of all the movies, out of everything we've seen with all of them. This was the best Chris Pratt has ever been as Star-Lord. This was the best for Zoe Saldana, the best for Dave Bautista. Mantis was off the hook. This was the best for Nebula. Like we said, Nebula's arc going back from the first one of just this villain and just kind of, paint by numbers, little henchman kind of character, to where she is now is incredible.
The leader of a society.
This was the best, this was the best that we've seen Bradley Cooper do, hang in there with Rocket. I always thought Bradley Cooper doesn't get enough credit, man. Voice acting's fucking hard, and he does this voice so well that like you forget that it's Bradley Cooper, man. This is
Doesn't
an
even sound
A-list
like him.
superstar.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like him at all. Like you see all these other animated movies we go see all the time, and you hear the actors so clearly, right? Oh, that's
Yeah.
so and so, and you forget all the time, like that's Bradley Cooper because
Yeah.
he does such a unique voice for Rocket, and he
Mhm.
just gets the shine in this movie, man.
Big time.
Everybody shines, dude. You have the moments with Kraglin and Cosmo and the Bad Dog, and just all that stuff that works so damn well. One thing that I don't think I see enough people talking about that I saw and makes so much sense too is
Mhm.
like when when Rocket comes back to life, right, on the ship, and he finally awakens and he's out of the coma, and Nebula hears his voice for the first time, and she's like, "Is that Rocket?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, it's
She
me."
gets
And she's like
emotional.
she puts her hand over her mouth and she's
Yeah.
visibly shaken, like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god." The thing that everybody's missing is after Infinity War, it was only them two. Everybody was dusted. It was
Ah,
Rocket and Nebula for 5 years
that is
together,
That's
true.
right. That's
coping
right.
with the loss of the entire Guardians. So you
Wow.
think about the time they had. They said that he's the one that did her new arm that could shapeshift and everything. Like,
Which is
you know,
awesome.
like
Arm.
their connection, because he even says, like, "Where's Nebula?" Like, you know, and so you
Right
see that
behind you.
connection between them. Yeah. And that's such a big piece right there when you think about it, that literally
That's
everyone
huge,
was
man.
dusted but
I
those
never thought
two,
of that.
you know, and because just I remember her being like, oh, like in the movie, and I remember at first kind of just being like, when was she that close to Rocket that she would be so visibly shaken, you know, like that, because
Sure.
you don't really see that emotion from her at
Yeah.
all, right?
Yeah.
And she was, and like and just her, like I said, her arc all the way to the very end. Like I said, giving them super kudos for not even having to kill anybody off, for being able to wrap up this story, save Rocket, come to the end there where it's like, okay, so we saved the day, and now Mantis needs to go find herself, and Star-Lord needs to go see if his grandfather's alive, and Drax and Nebula are going to take care of the kids, and Nowhere, and you know, and now Rocket is the leader, and he's going to take on this new group, and it's kind of like, you know, like Rocket says, like, is the band breaking up? And it's like, no, like we're just gonna do another version of it, basically. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like we'll still be a family, we'll still be together, but everybody just kind of going their own ways, you know. And like I said, before we started recording, that damn Dog Days Are Over song like kicks in, and I've always hated that song. But in the way it's used in this movie, it's going to stick with me in a totally different light going forward, because that's the scene that's playing when, you know, Groot starts dancing and he starts playing with the kids, and then Rocket's kind of not there yet, and you see Drax wave at Mantis and Mantis waves back, and it's the goodbye for
Watching off
them,
in the
right? Because
distance.
they're
Yeah.
so close,
Yeah.
you know. And then you see Star-Lord showing up, and his grandpa is there. This is all while that song's playing, so it just has such an emotional beat to it. Like, oh my god, like his grandpa notices and recognizes him immediately, like, oh my
Immediately.
god, it's Peter, you
Yeah.
know, like
That's
and he hasn't
awesome.
seen him in 30 years, you know. And it's
Yeah.
just the way everything pieces together. Then finally Rocket starts dancing, and you got Rocket dancing, Groot dancing, and then Batista kicks in, and you kind of have this sad but happy ending at the same time,
Yeah.
you know, that's just like super emotional. And I'm sitting there like, oh god, like I can't believe like this movie
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
dude. Like it was nuts, man.
And like
It just got me in so
Drax's
many damn
little
moments.
arc too, like Nebula saying like you're just the big dumb idiot, and then
Yeah.
to see like his paternal side kind of coming out, and like how you know the monkey sounds beep boop beep boop boop.
Oh my god, that was funny. Or
And
when
I love the
Mantis.
line of like, you're not meant to be a destroyer, you're meant to be a father. You
Oh,
know,
that
like, it's
killed
just
me.
like,
That
oh,
killed me.
dude.
Beautiful. That was great.
I like
You
too when
know?
Mantis like makes him forget that she called him stupid. Like
Yeah.
that was pretty deep. I mean, I was
Yeah,
pretty
it
shocked
was,
by
dude.
that
It
moment.
was.
Like,
He's like, did you see the way I knocked on that door all by myself?
yeah.
Batista's got some great moments in this thing, man. Like when they go into that weird ass planet, and Mantis makes the
Just
security
trying to lay
guard.
on the-
You're in love with him, and the guy's all
Oh.
like, "Oh, hey, what you doing later?"
He's like,
And
"Not
oh
again."
God, nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, no.
But he keeps trying to lay down on the couch. It's like the
Oh, that was
stupidest
great.
gag. That
Oh,
was
it was so funny, dude. He's
Dude,
like, "Why is it oblong?" Like, you
Yeah.
know, it
the
doesn't make any sense.
dodgeball,
The
the
design
dodgeball
shows.
to the face, just boom.
Can I have that picture so I can hang it?
That's
up when you're
why
done?
that dodgeball part from the trailer was why I didn't think Drax was gonna die when he got shot in that middle scene, because I was like, dude, that part hasn't happened yet with the dodgeball.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that was definitely something, because I did think for a moment, because he looked super hurt, man, when that blaster
Yeah.
hit him in the chest. But
Yeah.
I was like, we haven't got that scene yet with the animal creatures on that planet yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
dude,
the way
Star-Lord.
everybody kind of finds themselves.
Star-Lord, when he like tries to put the moves on Uda, and
Ooh, that
Yeah.
scene was great.
I thought you were kind of a douche. I thought you were kind of douchebag. And then later on,
Yeah.
like he's like, "Hey, I just need to talk to them." And then I just needed access to all their suits. Thank
I'm
you.
not an
It's like
idiot. Yeah.
yeah, I know. That was so good. That was so good. Told you
I
it would
really
work.
Yeah.
like that.
Told you
That
she
was
liked
good.
me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love these. Like, see, I told you that shit works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene was great, dude. He turns on all the suits and everybody's flying around and doing all kinds of weird shit. But the Nathan Fillion cameo, great. You know, I
Yeah.
love that he was
Nathan.
like, I got one of them guys too.
And he said that again later on too. Yeah.
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 He's like, I know, I got one of them
I
too.
got, yeah.
Like, just so good, dude.
Gotta love
Like,
Nathan
I love
Fillion.
so funny, man. So funny.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many moments, dude. My brain's like fried right now, like trying to
Yeah,
think of
dude.
everything. Because there's so many good lines and moments and pieces. And I'll tell you that the scene when, like I said, when we thought we lost Rocket, and they're like,
Mhm.
it's too late. You know, Gamora's like, it's too late. He's gone. Like, it's done. Peter, like, it's done. There's nothing we could do. And he's like doing the CPR, and he's like, no, we're not gonna give up. You know, and that's the
Yeah.
scream moment that we see
And
in the
then-
trailer and all that stuff. And then he finally, starts to wake up. And when they hug, dude, when he wakes up, he hugs Peter, and then Groot hugs them too, and he starts branching
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
around them.
That was
Oh, dude, that's when I was like, that part killed me, dude. I was just so like,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
just when I saw Groot's arms start stretching and kind of linking
Yeah.
around them, like the three of them together, and and I love that every time he was like, my best friend's dying, and Drax would be like, second best friend.
Yeah.
Second best, yeah. I like to at the end where they
Second
come
best friend.
back to the hug thing, and Warlock like slowly like reaches out and puts his hand on him, and then he's kind of
Yeah, he
comes in
kind of
for
does
the-
on the top.
And
And
the
I like
whole
too that he was like, "Why would you save me?" And and they're like,
Yeah.
"Everybody deserves a second chance."
that was
Yep.
cool. That was cool.
and the animal rescue, like just so many moments. Except for the
Yes.
monkey mauling the lady's
saving all the
face.
raccoons.
Yeah.
Which one?
The monkey, like when they all the animals are going off into the nowhere, and this monkey just randomly
Oh.
jumps off and just starts clawing the lady's face. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, it's
Nah, but
crazy.
yeah,
Oh,
so
man.
much.
So much good stuff, guys. So much good stuff, and that's just with one watch of this movie, man. I can't wait to see it again and kind of pick up on more stuff and more connections, because I'm sure there's so much more, man. But there's just so much of heart and emotion and laughter, and it's just, this movie just hits you in every single feel, man. This is like Inside Out, like for Guardians, like just getting all them emotions right there, man. So we'll jump in real quick to mid credit scenes, post credit scenes.
Okay.
So of course we got two scenes here. The mid credit scenes, we meet our new Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Mhm.
We saw that Rocket is the leader now, so he's on a planet with Kraglin and Adam Warlock, Groot, obviously, Cosmo, and then I know that, what's that girl's name? Marveloso.
Phyla, yeah, I remember.
I'm not even.
Philoso.
I've seen her
Supposedly in the
comics
comics, she's Captain Marvel's daughter. I don't know if they're gonna, can make that connection. Obviously in the MCU,
Phyla or something like that.
Yeah,
Phyla, yeah,
that
Phyla.
sounds
though.
right.
So we have the new group, and they're all talking about music, right? What kind of music you like? Oh, I think I like Britney Spears and Korn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. go. Like it's just like everybody's doing their thing. And they start, and then they put on the original song, right? Like this is a
Yes.
classic. This is what we like right here. And then the
Yeah.
action scenes coming, and it's like, all right, let's go. And then wake up, Groot, and Groot is King Groot,
It's
King
like
huge.
just
Groot,
like
man. Yeah.
massive dude, Alpha Groot here with the big crown on his head, and just like, "Oh, let's go, you know, like, and you
Yeah.
get that big normal Marvel shot of them all running to do their thing, right? And pretty cool, man. So just we'll stop there. I mean, what do we think of the new crew? Do we think we'll get something with this crew? Will there be a Guardians 4? Will we get a spinoff? Or you think something with this new crew? Will we just see them maybe in something else? What's our thoughts kind of with them kind of leading us here with this new iteration? Frigginz.
I'll be surprised if we see a movie with this crew. I could see them maybe doing a special. So I could see having this introduction to some of these newer characters in this new format, because Disney Plus is, really pushing all these like little side characters, and like we're gonna get the Echo show and things to that nature. So I feel like this would fit, assuming they could find a way to do so with a limited budget. I cannot imagine that we're going to get a full-on Guardians movie with this new crew. And I have a reason why, but I'm saving that for our next discussion. Yeah, I feel like this is more of a Disney Plus special, or maybe a limited show, but I feel like it's more in that special range.
Interesting. Peeps, what do you think?
I'm thinking.
What'd you think of the scene? Let's talk about that too.
Well, I just want to say my favorite part of the scene was playing that "Come and Get Your Love" song. That song was a song that I did remember that one, because I love the tying it back to that original amazing. I still call it an opening scene, although I know it's not the opening scene. But
it's opening adjacent.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I didn't really like the team all that much. They look like they're going to be like a powerful team, like for sure. But I guess maybe their dynamic, which we didn't really get to see all that much. It's like Kraglin is very, in terms of his personality, like he's not really much, right? Like he's probably the least, everyone's least favorite. And then Adam is amazing. Rocket is amazing. Groot is like, come on, it's Groot. But now I love his new design. And then like we know nothing about this other character. So like, but how does that dynamic work? Which I don't know, but I would like to see more of that, to be honest. I do.
Don't forget Cosmo.
Oh yeah.
Cosmo was there. Yeah. Good dog.
But yeah, no, I could see them doing something with this team. That's the thing, and everyone's going to be super overly critical over whoever they pick. It's going to be like I could see like Taika Waititi or something like that. Well, he's probably never going to come back for a Marvel movie, but like them picking some like super eccentric like, comedian, like director, serious director to do something like that. So it's going to be hard. And then are we going to just call it Guardians 4? No, it's going to be, I think it would be called something different, but like what do you call them? Like what, like they are the Guardians, or maybe it's just the Guardians,
just the Guardians,
like that. Yeah.
Or it's Guardians of the Galaxy, but it has like just a subtitle, like space
Forever.
Drama.
Guardians of the Galaxy Forever.
Just something. It just won't be a volume, because the volumes were the James Gunn one,
Yeah.
So it'll have a subtitle name.
Yeah.
The space soldier.
New Blood.
I can't wait to see that though. I mean, they could do a lot with it, especially with Adam and Magus and whatever else that they want to do with that little girl, and any connection she has to Kree or Marvel. I don't know. They already said who Marvel was in the movies. Never mind.
Yeah. I love the scene. It was cool. I like knowing that there's another team out there, like it felt good to kind of see like, all right, Rocket's continuing it on. He became the new captain. Like here he is, like keeping the team going, and here's just our next iteration, right? Especially because in the comics there is always different versions of the team, and I like that they kind of kept that a thing. Where do we see it next? I don't know, man. Like that's the whole thing, is like I could see a spin-off kind of movie,
a Mantis spin-off
just talked about. maybe a Mantis thing of her kind of going
Should be
around
too
could be a
hard.
great Disney Plus show. I
That
think
would
that
be
would be a Disney
cool.
Plus one.
Like, yeah, adventure of the week kind of thing. Yep.
You know, maybe we don't see these Guardians again until like Secret Wars or one of the
Yeah.
Avengers movies, right? Then
Probably
we could
gonna
see
be
them
it.
pop up kind of in an ensemble to help fight the fight, right?
That makes sense.
But yeah, so we'll see. You know, I like that something set up, and then even though James Gunn again was like, "This is the end, this is the end, this is the end." Finally, after the weekend kind of came out, like I said, he started to kind of be like, "Well, that's the end of my crew. Like Guardians will continue, right?" So it's still, like I'm sure, like Kevin Feige wasn't going to let him just be like, "You're done, everything's done in this world." Like,
Yeah.
nah, man, it's too much of a moneymaker. People like these characters too much to just write it off,
big
right?
time. Big
And
time.
once
So,
DC falls
we'll see
off
where it
and
goes.
no one wants to watch those movies anymore, we'll get it back over.
Totally. So then we go to our post-credit scene, which kind of goes back to Peter and on Earth with his grandfather. They're chilling at the table, just kind of having breakfast. It's a very quick, short scene. What's funny about it is if you look at the newspaper his grandpa's reading, it talks about Kevin Bacon being abducted by aliens. So
yeah.
which is really awesome going back to the holiday special. But then the scene kind of just the screen goes white, and then it says what the spectacular Star-Lord? What is
Legendary.
the legendary Star-Lord will return. So what's that all about,
What
right?
is
Like, so
that all about? Yeah.
that's going to be the
Well,
interesting one. Are we just talking about him coming back in an Avengers movie? Are we talking about him getting his own, story on Earth? Is he going to go try to become an Avenger? What is he going to go do, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things they can do with Star-Lord now that he's on Earth, right? And I would like to see him kind of figure out 2023 Earth, when he's been gone for so long. I think there's a lot of potential there, and I love Chris Pratt playing this character. I think he's so good at it. Like I said, this was the best I've ever seen him in the character. He just really fit it this movie. And I love it because in all the interviews when everybody else was like, I'm done, he was like, I'd be back if they asked me. So like he was the only one that was so clear on like, I love playing this character and I would totally
Yeah.
return. And then we see that come up on screen. You're like, that's why he was saying that, because something is in the works. So what will it be? I don't know, man. Interesting, but what's your guys' takeaway on that one? So Frigginz, what
Star-Lord
you got?
movie. I want to see a Star-Lord movie. I could see a Disney Plus TV show of him on Earth, like getting a job at an office and going to Dairy Queen every day, because that was the thing in the last movie. Or
Baskin Robbins.
right.
No, it's got to be Dairy Queen. Dairy
I
Queen
don't know,
was
man.
in,
If they
in
always
part
find
volume
out,
2.
if Baskin Robbins always finds out, they might, are you the legendary Star-Lord? No, but no, I want to see a movie. I want to see a Star-Lord, just Star-Lord. Just I don't know. I have no idea what kind of adventures he can get in, but it'd be great. I want to see it.
I
Cool.
saw that title and
What
it
you
made
got?
me immediately happy because I 100% believe they're going to do a solo Star-Lord movie, because the comic series specifically was titled The Legendary Star-Lord.
Mhm.
So they're pulling it directly from the comics. They're telling us he's going to return. It's not like Star-Lord will return or Peter Quill will return. They specifically use that term, the Legendary Star-Lord. So based on that, I 100% believe that we're going to get him back in his own solo movie. I didn't consider Disney Plus, but I think Chris Pratt's too big of a star. I think they're going to go movie, and he has connections to other characters, so it'd be really easy to have him interact with someone else. And I'm not necessarily talking about like other characters in the MCU movie. Obviously, we've seen him interact with all the Avengers. But if we're sticking to like comic availability and what they could do, assuming they don't do this until maybe the X-Men come out, he was like engaged to a Shadowcat at one point. So,
right.
they could go as far as connecting him to X-Men characters, or this isn't necessarily tied to the comics in any way, but they could potentially even include him in a connection with like the Fantastic Four or something, because they delve in this kind of like space and things of that nature.
Stuff.
So, there's a lot of wiggle room there. But to me, seeing the legendary Star-Lord with that specific writing tells me we're getting that solo film.
Yeah.
All right, that'd be pretty cool, man. We will see where that takes us, but very happy to hear that he'll be back in something, and we'll see where that takes us as we go forward. So, as we kind of wrap this up here, we go talk box office, right? Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3 kicked off this summer movie season with $118 million at the domestic box office, landing the second biggest debut of the year, behind Super Mario, and which also had Chris Pratt. And
you
then
go.
286 million globally, which after yesterday it already passed 300 million. So I mean, this thing is cooking, it's on its way. Original estimates had it coming in around between 110 114, and then it actually, when the numbers finalized, it was 118. So it actually had a really strong Sunday, which was really good. So nice kickoff here. We'll see what happens in week 2, because obviously superhero movies are very front loaded that first week, and then they kind of take a usually like a 60 to 70% drop in week 2. So we'll see kind of how it hangs on. It's got great word of mouth. Obviously, right now it's hanging in there like a 95% audience rating and about 85% on critic. So it's got a great word of mouth. People are going multiple times. I hope to go see it again this weekend. So yeah, man, we'll see how that money kind of hangs on there.
There's not really much coming out this weekend either, other than a Ben Affleck movie, which I do want to see. But other than
yep, it's a good weekend for it to hang on. So, all right, guys, final thoughts and scores before we get to our big MCU countdown update, which I'm excited to see. So what we got here, Frigginz, man, I'm curious to see, where did you land with all this trouble you had with this film? What is your final thought and your score on Guardians 3?
Again, final thoughts. I feel like it's this battle of objective or subjective. There's things I liked objectively. There's things I didn't like subjectively. Definitely making the enjoyment of like a repetitive viewing difficult for me. But I think back to when we talked about the Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix film, and I talked about like that movie. I listed all these amazing things that it was. I gave it 5 stars, and I said I never want to watch it again. And in this regard, while I'm not eager to watch it again, I definitely will watch Guardians again. I do want to watch it again at some point, but again, I had a lot of those subjective dislikes. So with all that being said, I'm actually going to give it 4.5 out of 5.
After all that, this dude gives a 4.5.
I know that hurts him, though. I know that hurts him to say.
It does, and I can't give it the full 5 just because, I want to reserve that 5 for like I'm extremely excited and happy about this movie, and I'm like, everyone's got to go watch this, whatever. Or it's at like with the Joker, and again, I know I said I didn't like that movie, but it was done at such a level that it was really hard to complain about things other than a subjective dislike. So again, I have to stick at that 4.5. I'm still teetering on that. Maybe that might change. You might see my score change on that, maybe after a couple rewatches, but that's where I'm sitting right now. That's where I'm sitting at right now.
Okay. Peeps, what you got?
5-star, fantastic movie. You'll see when we drop our rankings of all our Marvel movies, but like you said, DX, like there's nothing. My nitpicks have nothing to do with the plot or the story. It's just things that they gave us that I would have liked to see more of. But even without those stupid little things, this movie is fantastic beyond anything I could have. Well, I had high expectations, and this movie met those expectations and some. So just a phenomenal movie. I do want to see it again. I want to feel those emotions and go through it again. This is one of those movies where I want to take people I know to go see it, but it just sucks because unlike other movies I can do that with, all right, you got to make sure that you watch Endgame, and then you got to make sure you just so you get that one piece. Like real quick with my son, when I was getting him caught up with all the movies, we had like 1 hour, and we seen the 2 movies, and we had 1 hour to do the whole spiel with Infinity War and Endgame, and I got to the scene and I showed him the scene. I'm like, all right, this is her, and this is why this is important that she's dead, but she's not dead. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, you'll see.
You'll
Let's
see.
go to the movie. So,
Yeah. That's when you just throw on the Legends episodes on Disney Plus.
Oh,
and it'll
there
get
you
all
go.
caught up with everything you
no,
need.
no, they're not as good as mine. Like the context I add to it is way beyond.
I don't know. They're
anything.
pretty good. They show you everything
I
you
know
need
they're pretty
in about
good.
6
funny.
minutes. So
Yeah.
they're pretty good. I love those. Yeah, I agree. 5 stars, baby, all the way. This movie is awesome. It's my favorite movie of the year right now. As it
Same.
stands, it was
Not me.
amazing.
You know.
We know, Fred. We know. But you know, I've seen some of the other movies Fred's given 5 stars to this year. And I'm just a little sad that Guardians didn't make that, but some of the other shit did. Check out
We'll
his
talk about
Letterboxd
that
today.
next year in the.
You'll be
Oh
surprised.
yeah. I'm definitely getting a get the fuck out of here.
But amazing movie, like I said, dude. Emotional roller coaster. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll have fun. Amazing action, written very well. Story's awesome, and just really gives you every note you would want from a comic book movie. So, big 5 stars here. Absolutely loved it. So, all right, it's what a lot of y'all came to see, which is the updated MCU countdown. Like I said, this is the 32nd film in the MCU. So every time this list gets bigger and bigger and things shift around, 32 movies, guys. So Frigginz, take it away, man.
All right,
Let's
here we
see
go.
where Guardians lands as of this moment.
I know where
May
it's going to
10th,
land. and I'm
2023.
guessing.
Are definitely going to be disappointed with this. Number 32, Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3. No, I'm just kidding.
I was waiting for that.
Okay.
There's no
I was looking at your face specifically, and
know better.
yeah. All right, number 32, Iron Man 2, always at the bottom forever. Number 31,
hater.
31, Iron Man 3, 30, Eternals, 29, Thor: Dark World, 28, The Incredible Hulk, 27, Captain Marvel, 26, Ant-Man and the Wasp, 25, Spider-Man: Far From Home, 24 is where I have Quantumania, 23, Black Widow, 22, Avengers: Age of Ultron, 21, Thor: Love and Thunder. Last time we did this, I have rewatched some of these, so I can't remember if there's been any shifts since the last time we talked about it. But anyway, I did move a few things around relatively recently. Number 20, Doctor Strange, the first one. Number 19, Thor, the first one. Number 18, Wakanda Forever. Number 17, Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness.
It's coming next. Here we go.
How did you know that Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3 was going to be number 16?
Yep.
I guess it's just because you know me so well that I really love the ones above this one. So 15 takes us with Ant-Man number 1, 14 Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 13 Spider-Man No Way Home, 12 Black Panther, 11 Thor Ragnarok, 10 Captain America: The First Avenger, 9 Shang-Chi. I said that wrong. I think it's Shang-Chi. Sorry, Shang.
It's Shang-Chi.
For like 35 years
Not
of
his
my
cousin,
life.
Shang-Chi. See, Shang-Chi.
35 years of my life, I said it wrong, so it's hard to get it fixed. Number 8, Avengers, the first one. Number 7, Civil War. Number 6, Iron Man, the first one. Number 5, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Number 4, Infinity War. Number 3, Endgame. Number 2, Captain America: Winter Soldier. And number 1 is the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Come and get your love.
Hey.
Hey.
What?
Nice.
That's a good call on where it was going to land, Peeps. I'm surprised you got exactly where it was at. I have no idea where you guys are going to put it.
What you got?
All right, number 32, Iron Man 2. I agree, Frigginz. Number 31, we have the first Thor movie. Number 30 is Iron Man 3. 29 is Captain Marvel. 28 is The Incredible Hulk. 27 is The Eternals. 26 is Thor: Dark World. 25 is the Captain America: The First Avenger. 24 is the Black Widow. Why did we make this so late? 23 is Doctor Strange. 22, Ant-Man Quantumania. 21, Thor Ragnarok. Shut up, guys. 20,
Shame.
20
20.
Let the hammer pull you off.
Or was it
Thor
21?
Love and Thunder. No, we're at 20. Love
Okay.
and Thunder. 19 is, gosh, I always do this. Avengers 2, which I think is Civil War. No,
Age of Ultron.
No.
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
Okay. Number 18 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 17 is Spider-Man Far From Home. 16 is Ant-Man. And now we're top 15. Number 15 is Captain America 3, which I think is Civil War.
Correct.
Yes.
Then I have Spider-Man number 1 at number 14, which is Homecoming. Black Panther number 13. Number 12, I have Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Number 11, Shang-Chi. Top 10 now. Number 10 is Iron Man. Number 9 is the first Avengers movie, 2012. Number 8 is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Wow.
Number 2 is Guardians Volume 2.
That's number 7?
Yes, number 7 is Guardians Volume 2. Well, you think you heard, but it wasn't number 2. Number 6.
Yeah. I was like, we're on number 2 already? How did we get that far up?
Number 6 is, and this is where I think, like, they're all just like, there's like 5 of these that are literally exactly on the same level, but whatever. I have to make a freaking list.
Yep.
Number 6 is Spider-Man No Way Home. I think Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
Number 5, top 5 is Endgame. Number 4 is Guardians 1. Number 3 is Guardians 3.
Wow.
Interchangeable, potentially those two.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Winter Soldier, which at this point, I think I need to watch that movie again to see if it really stands up. And then number 1,
It does. It does, by the way.
And always be. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it stands up as much as it used to.
It gets better with
It's
age.
still great.
It's like a fine
No,
wine.
it doesn't.
I
It
don't even
doesn't.
like wine. I don't know if that's good. Fine cheese.
Wow. So
Infinity
you had
War
it at
number
number 3. What'd you have it at? 3?
3. Number 3.
Volume 3, number 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm wondering if Don's going to have it
Congratulations.
at 5.
That's
That's my
No,
guess.
Spoiler alert, I do not.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be within the 6.
It
10 to
can't.
6.
It can't break the Avengers though, because that's always his top 4.
Exactly.
yeah.
See,
10 to
he's
6.
smart, he's smart. All right. Number 32, Captain America, the First Avenger. Number 31, Iron Man 3. Number 30, The Incredible Hulk. Number 29, Black Widow. 28, Eternals. 27, Thor: The Dark World. 26, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. 25, Iron Man 2. 24, the original Thor. Number 23, Captain Marvel. Number 22, Doctor Strange. 21, the original Ant-Man. 20, Ant-Man and the Wasp. 19, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. 18, Black Panther. So back to back there. Number 17, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Number 16, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Number 15, Spider-Man Far From Home. 14, Iron Man. Number 13, Thor: Love and Thunder. Number 12, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 11, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay.
Number 10, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
There it is.
So it comes in number 10 for me. Number 9, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Number 8, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 7, Thor: Ragnarok. Number 6, Captain America: Civil War. Number 5, the original Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 4, Avengers: Age of Ultron. Number 3, the original Avengers. Number 2, Avengers: Endgame. And number 1, Avengers: Infinity War.
Interesting.
So there you all have it. So look at that little widespread. So Frigginz, where'd you have it? What number?
16.
16. So we had 16 for Frigginz, number 10 for me, and number 3 for Peeps. So there you go, man.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So there you guys go. That is the updated MCU countdown. So on that note, we've done it. That is the Am I Still on the Air Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 spoiler review. Thank you everybody in the chat. Thank you everybody that is watching, everybody that's listening at home or on the way to work, or even if it's your third listen, because these things are always about 2 hours and it might take you some time to get through it.
Breaking in chunks.
Thank you for chugging along and listening and sitting with us for this time. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Go back and check out some other Am I Still in the Air? We got spoiler reviews going back for years. And then within the last, year or two on video format as well, too. There's a playlist on our YouTube channel. So go to youtube.com/Am I on the Air. Look for the playlist. This is Am I Still in the Air? You can watch all the other movies that we talked about on here as well, too. Always a lot of fun. So let's go around the horn and let's wrap this baby up. So Frigginz, tell the people, where can they find you?
Well, as you just said, you can find me on these Am I Still in the Air specials, the Am I on the Air YouTube pages or Red Dragons Radio. So definitely check all that fun stuff out. There's tons of amazing podcasts and things on that reddragonsradio.com website. .com. On top of that, if you like stuff I say, then come join me on Instagram or Twitter. That's at Frigginz, Frigginz, Frigginz with a Z. I have been this year started little movie reviews that I post on both those sites. I call them my friggin' movie reviews. They're short. They're usually less than about 3 minutes. And I do a non-spoiler review of all the movies that I've been seeing in the theater. I've held off on this Guardians one because I wanted to do this thing first. So that one will that'll probably post tomorrow for the non-spoiler. And yeah, check me out there. Other than that, I think that's all I'm doing right now.
Word. There you go. Peeps.
I'm on the People's Forum. Done. Yeah, I do a little podcast thing. I love talking about this kind of stuff. Yeah, so the People's Forum on the reddragonsradio.com. So yeah, I have some of these guys on there every now and then to talk
Fun
about
stuff.
and things. So yeah.
Ooh, we're gonna have to watch Visions to catch up on that one.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. Yeah, on the Twitters as well. You see it, number for my peoples on the Twitters. Yeah, just tell me how much you agree with everything I say and how I'm not wrong about anything I say. I'm just kidding. I love arguing. It's great.
Ever. All righty. And of course, make sure you follow the show at Am I on the Air. And of course, see the little ticker there at the bottom. It's got all the different socials, pretty much Am I on the Air and everything you can look to find. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Our regular podcast airs every Tuesday, always bringing you up to speed on everything going on in TV and movies every single week. Got non-spoiler review over there for Guardians this week and a couple other movies and TV shows. So make sure you check out the regular podcast feed there for that, and you can follow me directly at DONMEGA as well over on Twitter. But yeah, that's it, guys. So thank you so much. It is May 10th, 2023. That has been the Guardians of the Galaxy spoiler review. I'm not sure the next big one that we'll get together. Maybe we'll talk about the summer movie season, or we'll do something fancy because there's not another Marvel.
Flash.
Well, you know what?
Flash.
We got Flash. Yes. So we don't got no Marvel shit till like November, but we got Flash, we got Blue Beetle, we got Aquaman later in the year. So yeah, there's some good other stuff coming, especially Flash, man. I know we're gonna have some good conversation there about that one. So that'll be mid-June. That will be so about a month away on that one. We'll be able to
We're gonna get nuts.
Sure.
Let's get nuts.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So thanks everybody again for listening, and until next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace.